Champions League football is back at Old Trafford tomorrow, but I tell you what, we've seen far from the quality needed at Old Trafford this season from any Manchester United team. It's been a very bad start to the season. The fortunate thing for United after that Palace game of the weekend, we've got Galatasaray at Old Trafford. After the Bayern Munich game, we have to win. There has to be a response. There has to be changes. This is my Galatasaray preview. We're going to take a look at the problems that we saw at the weekend, Ten Hag's press conference ahead of the game, changes that are needed, where Galatasaray are going to be a threat. I'm going to run through it all with my prediction and the changes that I think are needed in this game. And spoiler alert, we need some changes. You can let me know yours in the comments below. Let's run through what Ten Hag said in his press conference. Now, one player who's going to be available for selection is Antony. He's back training with the team. Antony, clearly Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag feel confident enough with what he has told them behind the scenes, the evidence that he has provided, that he is available for selection. Because for him to be available now, with everything that's gone on with the Mason Greenwood situation, the club has to have a real confidence and trust in Antony. That will transpire and we'll find out more about that. But Antony's going to be available for selection. And speaking about the other underperforming players, look, Ten Hag is well aware how bad Rashford's been this season. Well aware how bad Casemiro's been this season. They are the experienced players. Will he give them another opportunity to prove themselves, or will he take them out of the team? This was a team that played against Palace at the weekend, and there were problems, all right? You know exactly where the big problems were. I'm going to say the biggest problem there was probably Casemiro and Marcus Rashford. Those two areas were the big issues against Crystal Palace in terms of how they were helping or not helping the team in the build-up and everything. But with Galatasaray, there's one thing that we have to understand here, because there's going to be calls potentially. Amrabat being at left-back is an issue. We need him in midfield, but who can play left-back? I don't know. / nobody else. Galatasaray, their most dangerous part of their game is going to be right there. Angelino, who's going to give all United fans nightmares from when he played for Leipzig and scored a couple of goals. And Wilfried Zaha as well. Not just the fact that they got a goal and assist at the weekend, but that left flank is easily going to be where their biggest threat is at the weekend. It's going to be with Angelino on Tuesday. It's going to be Angelino, it's going to be Zaha. So therefore, Diogo Dalot has to start at right back. And therefore, I'd think Erik Ten Hag will be looking at this area of the pitch, the whole of it, front and back, in terms of who plays right wing and who plays right back, as probably the biggest area that he wants to strengthen. So Diogo Dalot is definitely starting at right back. There's no way that he goes into left back, so Amrabat goes into midfield and then Lindelof plays at right back. No, it's not going to happen. Dalot is going to play it at right back. And unfortunately, I think Amrabat is going to have to continue playing left back. I don't think Erik Ten Hag wants it. Amrabat, nobody wants it. But we've got Luke Shaw out for a few months. His backup Malacia still out for I don't know how long. And then his emergency cover also out injured. That's where the crisis exists, the injury crisis. That's why Amrabat still has to play there. I want to see him play more like he did against Palace in the League Cup. Palace, I think, kind of covered his space a little bit more. But we need to see Amrabat really coming inside and making himself available a little bit more than he did in the game in the league. But I tell you what, it's almost our centre-back options, right? It's such a fundamental problem. Martinez is out now for another few months because of another surgery he's got to have in the metatarsal. And Lindelof simply didn't do enough. He's too passive. Now, I'm not saying that Evans is going to be that guy who breaks through, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Evans come into this starting 11 to face Galatasaray, all right? That's kind of what I'm predicting, in fact. I think Evans is going to come in and play alongside Rafa Varane. Evans has only played once, well, started once for Manchester United this season in the Premier League. That was Burnley. And it was a game where it worked. Evans played pretty well. I think you're going to see Evans play at left centre-back and Lindelof drop to the bench. Maguire could start there as well. Wouldn't be surprised, but I think he's going to switch that up. I think that's going to be the back five. Now, the biggest issue. Is it the biggest issue? I don't know where to define United's biggest issue. But Casemiro's form this season has been garbage, I think. I think the first few games of the season, he was left massively isolated by the aggressive system of two number 8s with Mount and Bruno. That didn't help him. That exacerbated his weaknesses. But even then, Casemiro is just there's simple things he's not doing properly. Nice short passes, bringing possession to the team. Casemiro's just got to be better. And I think if there's any player that Ten Hag's going to trust to turn his form around, it's going to be Casemiro. So I think Casemiro starts this game. If we had Reguilon fit and Amrabat could play in the middle, I think you could see Casemiro drop to the bench potentially, but I just don't think it's possible with the available players that we have got. Casemiro will start there. Now, midfield, Bruno. Anybody calling for Bruno to be dropped? Look, you can speak about problems at United. There's about 15 other problems I speak about ahead of Bruno Fernandes. He's still by far our most creative player. We need him closer to the edge of the opposition box rather than the edge of our own box. He will start in this game. We need to see Amrabat really dropping in there to give Casemiro some support, but we need Bruno in there. Now, whether or not Mason Mount starts in midfield, I think will kind of depend on what happens up front, which is where I think most of the changes will come. And I'm unsure as to what happens because on the one hand, I'm looking at Marcus Rashford going, I'm seeing a player who's just devoid of confidence, a player whose body language, everything just seems to be difficult for Rashford. Everything. He gets on the wrong end of the 50-50, he goes down like a sack of spuds. He can't get past his man because we don't have the overlap coming at left back because we don't have an overlapping left back. There's going to be a lot of calls for Garnacho to start this game. Now, on the one hand, I completely understand them. On the other hand, I'm looking at Garnacho and I think he's somebody who really impacts a game well from the bench. But if I'm going to choose one of these two players to go, who would I rather see start and who would I rather see be that impact sub in this particular game against Galatasaray? And I would make that change. I think sometimes you can... Look, I understand that senior players, as Ten Hag said there, right? Senior players, they can have their humps and their bumps and their experience will come through. For me, as it stands, Marcus Rashford, I think just take him out of the spotlight. Just for this game here, start Garnacho. I'll tell you who else starts in this game as well. Right? And this, again, is to do with the setup up front. I'm putting Hannibal back in midfield. Right? I think that is a requirement. For me, anyway. Off the ball application is going to be a big thing. Man United controlling the possession of this game is going to be a big thing. Hannibal should come in, and that should be our midfield trio, with Amrabat tucking in and helping cover the space behind when Casemiro goes forward a little bit. So that's Mount out of the central midfield positions because I don't know what happens up front. It's that right wing position for me, which is probably going to be the most crucial change in this game because I feel that Zaha and Angelino is going to be Galatasaray's biggest threat down that left flank. It's going to be where Ten Hag needs more energy. Whoever plays right wing is going to really have to double back. Now, Pellistri did that quite well when he played against Bayern Munich, but Pellistri's, you saw it against Palace. I don't think he's at that level where he's starting and really impacting games. He definitely is in the more impactful super sub category. And it's who starts at right wing. If Antony is fit, Antony will start this game. If Antony isn't 100% fit, then Mason Mount will start this game at right wing. And we don't know who that's going to be. If he's fit, though, Antony comes back into this team. And that will probably be the front three because I think Højlund absolutely starts. I think Højlund, he's doing everything right. We need more service to him. Get the ball to him more. Start visualising that you've got the striker more. It's not just Marcus Rashford who's not doing this. Bruno needs to spot the runs more. Everybody needs to spot the runs more. We need to work around this slight change in the fact that we've got a proper number 9. I think Højlund's been making a lot of the right moves. The one I can't predict is whether Antony's going to start or Mason Mount's going to start at right wing. I think both of them would do a similar job. Antony, of course, is more of a natural winger. Mason Mount would probably cut inside more, but let's be honest, Antony cuts inside more. Neither of those two really are on the overlap. Dalot would be on the overlap, but with these two, he's going to have to really keep his head screwed on. So that means that you're going to have to see Casemiro tucking inside, covering spaces every time Dalot goes forward. He's going to have to really keep defensively on point in this game rather than thinking, I need to go forward and deliver the goals and the assists. That's not going to be the mantra of whether or not Casemiro has a good game in this. It's whether or not he can protect our defence. He's got to be a little bit more old school Casemiro. I've spoken about the evolution of Casemiro. I don't think that can happen properly until Amrabat actually starts in central midfield. It's a case of results are all important. But there's a couple of changes there that I've brought in. I brought in Evans at left centre-back ahead of Lindelof. I brought in Garnacho to start at left wing over Rashford. And if Antony's fit, he will start this game. If Antony's not fit, that will be Mason Mount, and Hannibal comes back into midfield. Hannibal hadn't put a foot wrong. take him out of the team, and the energy did disappear a little bit. In terms of predicting this game, I don't really know. I'll be honest, I don't know what to predict. Because I'm the eternal optimist, I'm going to go for a 2-1, tight 2-1 win. I don't think it will be spectacular. I think Antony coming back in adds a lot on that right flank in terms of doubling up and helping Delo. I think Hannibal coming in adds a lot more assurance in that midfield, which means Casemiro can then afford to shift out to the right and cover the spaces maybe that Antony or Delo leaves. Amrabat will then go tuck inside and cover the spaces maybe that Hannibal will leave when he's bounding around the pitch. Rashford, I think, should go out for Garnacho, and Rashford should come on. Changes are needed, man. This football club is so up and down. It's painful. And as somebody who tries to remain the eternal optimist, United are testing me. But Champions League football is back at Old Trafford. It's lucky that we've got this game so quickly. We don't have to wait until Wednesday, get it done on Tuesday, get some positivity back in. But we had positivity after Burnley and Palace, and that counted for absolutely nothing. Only 2 wins this week. That's what we need. Brentford, they're in a horrendous run of form as well. Galatasaray, we need to be winning this game. Win your home games in the Champions League. Get a point away from home, and that's enough to get you through the group stages. After losing against Bayern Munich, 3 points are needed. These are the changes I would make. I think it'll be a 2-1 if you make those changes. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But United have got to just be united. Play as a team. And stop with the up and down performances game to game. Get some consistency and hold on to it.